technological advantage and ways for Elon and the Elon tech companies to win is far beyond what people think. But we as consumers will be winners because we're going to get better products.
A wild future, and the Elon Musk companies are definitely creating most of the wildest parts of that future. No doubt about it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Next Week's Future. I'm here with Randy Kirk, a good friend and fellow YouTuber. So I'm going to be talking about the intersection of several big bits of news. There's XAI, which is Elon Musk's AI company. They're doing a lot of chips installations, creating a big data center. There's SpaceX news, and there's Teslabot news, and there's Neuralink news. And several of these things will work together, if not soon over the next few years, and that will have a huge impact. So, Randy, welcome.
Glad to be here. It's interesting because I don't know if you saw it, but there was an article, or I think it was a note that was put out by one of the funds the other day that even talked about how this combination of the AI from XAI claiming to be going to be the largest supercomputer in the world, combining that with the new supercomputer that Tesla's putting in at the south end of Austin, that combination is worthy of paying attention to.
Yes. So let me just share a couple of three slides here, just showing some stuff that's going on. So there's so much news on Tesla and SpaceX and everything. So the first thing is that the Starlink Mini is this backpack portable device, which can it's portable. I think about 100 watt hours. So if you have a brick of a battery, then you can charge it up for like 2 or 3 hours, which also means that if you have 60 kilowatt hours in your Tesla vehicle, then you could probably run it for like hundreds of hours, maybe even 1,000 hours if you just were parking your vehicle and then running it. And it's also got a $50 roaming plan, which I think has about 50 gigabytes of data per month that you could do with the $50 roaming plan. So if you were to not use video so much, although you want to use video to watch YouTube, everyone knows that. We're watching here. If you didn't, then you could have quite high speed service in many remote locations, which is where people don't know that they have these low flying satellites, thousands of them, 6,000 plus that are over the world. So if you have a remote location, then you could have a satellite all to yourself or like a few people having those satellites. And you can also note that this is something small enough that a Teslabot could carry on its back or on its front. So then a Teslabot could then use that. 4 weeks, the first week of August, the Starship could launch and they could be caught on the launch tower. So the last launch that people don't know, Test Flight 4 to orbit, did a virtual tower landing over the ocean. So it didn't land on an actual tower, but it landed on a pretend tower to see, okay, can we do it? So now they have the confidence that this will work. So now they can try and land on a real tower, which if they do successfully, basically makes it as reusable as a Falcon 9. Falcon 9 is a smaller rocket that they have. They've launched over 200 times, I think closing at 300 times, and they've reused 250 of the boosters, the first stage. If you're reusing the booster of a Starship, you can launch 200 tons to orbit, and you would save 33 Raptor engines. And then you'd only extend the upper stage, would be 6 engines. So you're getting to 80% reusability, which is as reusable as anything else is currently, which only SpaceX Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, and then the Starship would be 80% reusable. Of course, SpaceX wants to get to 100% reusable, land the upper stage as well, which I think they would try to do more cleanly this next launch in August versus the previous one which I think in June, where they got back, but it was by the skin of their teeth. The thing was burning up, all kinds of heat problems on it. So they want to kind of have a cleaner run and then try to land the upper stage. Once they do that, they would then be able to have 5 times more satellites up there in a hurry, which would make the remote Starlink Mini far more useful. Go ahead.
All right, yeah. So one of the most fascinating parts of this last flight was watching the foe, if you will, landing over the ocean. And seeing how they were able to stabilize this massive, both ends. Actually, they were able to do the Starship as well as the booster, and have them just kind of floating there over the ocean before they disposed of them. So that was a fascinating part of this last launch.
And for people who don't know, the reason I'm very confident that they will successfully do the tower landing is that the tower arms you see there are roughly the size of the drone ships that they've been landing on hundreds of times. So them getting to the quality of a Falcon 9 landing would enable this success. It's why they're confident about it. It's why I'm confident that they can achieve it. But then if they do wreck it, they are starting to build a second launch tower. They can also repair the launch tower depending on how much damage they have to it. So you have because they're making more parts, unlike the other NASA programs where it's like everything costs $20 billion. The launch tower costs $5 billion. Everything takes years. SpaceX can put it back together in months to weeks. They damaged the cement of the landing
Damage.
pad before.
Boy, you call that damage? I call
Yeah,
it destroyed.
they wrecked it. They wrecked it. Yes, they were throwing up
Huge
car-sized chunks of rocks, hundreds of feet. So they really the power of these things is really a lot. So we also the other things that are merging together. So I'm going to have several points. So they had a Neuralink update where Elon and several key members of his team at Neuralink discussed the success they've had with their first patient. Then going to go to a second patient, but they also discussed the vision of using the Neuralink, the direct brain connection to computer and other devices, where they say they can connect to Bluetooth, which the person uses to move the cursor on a screen to play video games and to communicate with text words. They have about 10 bytes per second of communication from the device. They will improve it to at least double it with minor configuration changes. And then they will have a second generation device, which will have 3,000 threads, which could up the communication speed 20 times, 100 times. So several magnitudes where they get really high speed communication. So that would be, 1,000 bytes per second, which is far faster than anyone could type. But they also said that they would, in a near term, attach it to a wheelchair. The person controlled their own wheelchair. They could have it connect to a Teslabot so that the person can be more independent. They could scratch their own nose or back. You can imagine if you don't have the use of your arms or legs, that you can't scratch yourself. It'd be very, very annoying. And so they want to have that capability. And it could arrange it so they could feed themselves. They can control an arm that could spoon, the food into the mouth, could lift a water with a straw to drink. It would give them more independence, which would be hugely life-changing for these people. They could communicate, they could feed themselves, they could perform basic tasks of like scratch themselves so they could then go to sleep.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. In fact, the idea, Elon said it, is that ultimately we are looking at the $6 billion man. We're looking at something that, might be 20 years from now, but the goal would be to be able to completely restore and go beyond restoration, go to superhuman capabilities on these individuals who either with birth defects or with accidents have ended up being unable to use one or more limbs.
Right. And so I think the next one, just talking about, Jensen also believes that there'll be billions of humanoid bots. Elon, says 10, 20 billion. But then these bots could be merging into our psyche where they would communicate directly to our brain. And you wouldn't have, if you didn't want to have threads to do it, implanted threads into your brain. There are other brain computer communication where it would be, like you're wearing a helmet or some other like device. You have like cochlear ear implants, which are basically brain computer connections where you hear. And they have some brain connection, but it's a far less invasive one. So once they get it working, Neuralink, then they could reduce the amount of invasiveness, make it a range where it's like if you don't want to have it, but you want to have brain communication to your robot, to your devices, they could reduce that level of invasiveness. But people could become comfortable. It's open question about how much, people would want it. Basically, some people would want it, some people would not. Some people would want just voice commands, which also for the AI part, the XAI, Elon also mentioned that they had 24,000 NVIDIA H100s that they leased from Oracle to create the Grok 2 system, which should release in August, and which supposedly surpasses GPT-4 on most metrics. But for people who say, well, surpassing metrics, Claude, Anthropic's 3.5 Sonnet supposedly surpasses GPT-4 on several metrics. But it's when people use it, it's like they're all kind of in the range, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, GPT-4, some aspects of Gemini, even the current version of Grok, you get certain answers from it. So it's, unless you're asking really difficult questions, you don't get a huge difference. Although you can see the more easy to get a good verbose answer, like a long answer out of GPT-4o than you do out of other systems. Anthropic gives some really long answers. Any comment about the XAI aspect of things?
Yeah, I think that Elon also said that the Grok 5, I think it would be, or the one that
Grok 3.
Grok 3, which will be next about a year from now, that he expects that to surpass anything that's out there. Now, that's always easy to say. And then, what are the other guys going to do in the meantime?
Right.
But now you have that system, you have the Grok system, with that cluster, you've got the new ones that are being put in Memphis that probably, I guess, will be up and running by the end of the year, based on how quickly they were able to get the last system up and running. So maybe that's running by the end of the year. Then you've got the system down in Texas that also should, I think, be running by the end of the year because the fans are in, and I think they're starting to install. So between these existing clusters, the new clusters in Memphis, the new clusters in Austin, in Tesla has existing AI, already in, I guess, in Fremont. So the combination is going to be absolutely amazing. And they're all going to be attacking things from different directions for different purposes. But as with anything like that, the cross purposes are what become, I think maybe that's part of what you wanted to talk about today. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Is that, if I am a leader in making laptops, and this other guy down the street, he's a leader in making cell phones, and some third guy is a leader at making televisions, but all of a sudden I own all three companies, and I might be able to get a lot of ecosystem, transferability between my knowledge as well as my actual hardware and software and, capabilities, and my ability to put the large learning models to work.
So people are concerned that the rate of progress, because basically GPT-5 hasn't released. They thought it would release early in the year, and it's mid-year, and the OpenAI version of their next generation system hasn't been released. They only released the 4.0. So then there's concern that things have topped out in some way. But the fact that you can use these systems to make real money if you have a good use for them. So this has already been proven with the Real Madrid sports team, playing what we call in US soccer, what the rest of the world calls football, one of the most popular teams, 500 million fans. They were able to use AI to increase the engagement of their social media, whatever platform that they had, and got 30% more revenue. Basically, they sold more shirts and did more stuff, right? So Meta, Facebook, they putting their Llama system onto their properties where billions of people go to for Instagram, Facebook, and other things. They put a little AI search tab, and they just get people to stay on Facebook and Meta, and then that increases their advertising and revenue.
Right.
So Tesla can put Grok XAI into their cars, and that would give the voice commands to for FSD to take me to whatever location. They already have some of that, but that would get better, right?
Yes.
So those kinds of product enhancements are clearly visible, that you can get a better and better voice communication. We already have some voice communication with the large language models. So I think that would greatly also enhance Robotaxi and FSD.
And Optimus as well.
Right,
but
and Optimus as well.
I think a lot of people are just way too they're not imaginative enough about the Grok in the car and the Grok with Optimus. I mean, I'm not sure, what's the best steakhouse on my route that is under $100. That'd be great information to have, and I'd like to be able to put that in and get it back. But I'm way more interested in having a buddy in the car on my long drives, or even when I've got the whole family in the car. I want to be able to, I want this guy to be just as wisecracking as Grok is right now verbally. So hey, listen, I want to get the cheapest $100 steak or the best $100 steak that I can on my route. And he's going, well, come on now. If you just go 5 miles out of your way, we can get you an even better steak. And by the way, why are you sure you can afford $100 right now? I mean, just whatever, some kind of, snarkiness and humor and fun and, making it another, I mean, like the robots from the movies, man, come on.
So I think one of the biggest criticisms of Robotaxi, any future vision of Robotaxi, where there is no driver, is that if something goes wrong, there's no way to intervene.
Right.
That the human can't take over.
Right.
But with voice commands, the passenger can't take over.
Yes.
The passenger could say, just like if you're driving with a chauffeur, right, you say, hey, you're driving crazy, pull over, or a taxi driver, pull over, let me out, right? You can then have that option with a Tesla FSD, full self-driving, or Robotaxi, where you can say, hey, I'm the passenger, I'm getting in, I want to have authorization for an override, and right, here's how you do it. A little video thing comes up explaining how to do the override. So you have the command, basically your safe word. You can have your safe word for your Robotaxi to say, disengage, pull over, right? Or don't turn or do something. You have some options to pull over and to stop and let the person know. So that would then
drive a little slower, or I'm in a little bit of a hurry, or with limits,
right. And then you can also engage emergency engage a remote driver. We say remote driver, please take over, or something like that, right? So you have some options, some safety options, or also just peace of mind options on that. Same thing for the bot. You can say, stop doing whatever. I'm not feeling comfortable. Whatever. Again, safe words.
Come on now. We just have to go to my favorite. The only reason I really want one of these bots, because life is pretty simple. I don't know that I really need a bot, but let's face it, man. A bot would give the best ever massage. Okay.
Right.
And so I could just picture one coming right behind me right now, putting putting those big old metal hands up over on my shoulders, and you just say, "Look, a little to the right, a little to the left, a little higher, a little harder." No, I like it a little. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's it, exactly like that. Or to your point, no, 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 that's enough.
Right.
And
Which
the bot is responding by going, "Come on, man, you can take a little more."
right. But that point is that, people say, oh, it's freaky, you do massage. There's like millions of people who use, the massage chairs,
Sure.
massage guns.
Yeah.
There's plenty of mechanical massage devices. And
Yes.
there's those for the naughty kinds of massages and other activities. Again, a lot of devices that already exist, mechanical devices that are used for that purpose. So again, having the person be able to um, give the verbal controls,
Yes. Yes.
is something that would I think is something needed and would make the concerns about it's going to do its own thing. I have no means of inputting in a fast way. That's not true. That you'll
Right.
be able to do that. Um, so I think the blending of all the Elon Musk companies is something that people don't see. I think it's happening more and more. That
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Neuralink works with Teslabot, SpaceX working with Tesla, all these technology companies working together, and also for XAI and X, so the X Twitter, um, they will have payments coming in where he made PayPal, and they have a WeChat like system
Mhm.
where it will be able to do shopping and payments and other things on X, which would take it to another level. And the Starlink aspect for X is also huge because you can have SpaceX will connect directly to your cell phone. There's already over 100 cell phone direct to cell phone communication satellites up in orbit now,
Right.
and so they could be able to handle millions of text messages, millions of other messages, and the text message, the short message, is basically what Twitter is. Um, Now that I don't know, we're not trying to video, but there is the broad component is still text based,
Sure.
and that would be something that could let them have billions of customers. They'll control the endpoints, which is
Mhm.
something that Meta Facebook has been searching for years. Because people who don't know, Meta and Google pay Apple tens of billions of dollars every year in order to give them primary place on smartphones
Yes.
and on other devices. So those big tech companies have been trying to break free of Apple's control, and that's why Meta was making the Oculus system, because they want to have a device that they control the access to.
Mhm.
And um, Tesla and SpaceX provide that to X. Millions of cars, soon tens of millions of cars, potentially billions of robots. Also, every Starlink device to a cell phone can get them all those access points. So that makes the technological advantage and ways for Elon and the Elon tech companies to win
Mhm.
is far beyond what people think. But we as consumers will be winners because we're going to get better products. Ain't comment
It
on that.
is a wild future, and the Elon Musk companies are definitely creating most of the wildest parts of that future. No doubt about it.
And also, it's that he executes so well. He scales things up. He thinks about how do I get it to millions and millions of people. He has that vision to complete it. So it's for people who don't like him, it's just that he is the business executor who can make these business plans, envision them, willing to take the risk, and then
Right.
make them happen. And as these pieces come together, it will be transformational for how we live and what the world will have.
True,
Yeah.
true, true, true.
So that was going over the various interactions of the various Elon Musk companies, but he's always introducing new products and capabilities. So this was a topic that we'll be revisiting as it happens and rolls out. Okay. Uh, Thanks for being here, Randy, and we will talk again next time.